Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's web conference, Priority Matrix plus Microsoft Teams Effectively Deliver Complex Projects. My name is AJ, and I will be your moderator today. We are broadcasting this web conference through Teams live events, and the audio can be heard through your device speakers. Today's web conference is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. By participating in this session using Microsoft Teams, your name, email address, phone number, and/or title may be viewable by other session participants. If you do not consent to being a part of the recorded session, please disconnect at this time. Attendees may access the web conference recording within 3 business days via the same registration link that was used to attend today's live broadcast. If you have questions for the presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions during the presentation and at the end if there is time. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Kicking us off today from Microsoft, we have Shel Trivedi, Business Development Manager. Shel, over to you.
First, I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. My name is Shel Trivedi, Business Development Manager on the M365 ecosystem team, and we're accompanied today by Hein again, CEO of Affluence. Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm going to kick things off by explaining what is Microsoft Teams, and then Affluence will show how their app within Teams can effectively deliver complex projects. Today, the modern workplace is increasingly focused on teamwork and increasingly pivoting to remote work. Microsoft Teams is the hub for teamwork in Microsoft 365, a chat-based workspace that enables teams, co-located or distributed, to be more productive by giving them a single secure location to communicate, collaborate, and get work done together. Teams accomplishes this by incorporating chats, meetings, office apps, or business process workflows in its UI, and integration of apps such as Priority Matrix further enriches the Teams experience. Everyone insight into the success Teams has seen. It's the fastest growing business application in Microsoft history. Here's some key stats. We have over 75 million daily active users, over 500,000 organizations are using Teams, and it's available in over 181 markets with support for 53 languages and continuously growing. Now I'll hand it over to Hai to show how their app can help your company effectively deliver complex projects.
Thank you, Shel, for the introduction. I appreciate it. If you're not yet familiar with Priority Matrix, it's a software platform to help individuals and teams manage projects, emails, and priorities. Priority Matrix is based on a simple concept. Imagine everything that you have to do and split them into 4 simple buckets. The critical things you must do now, the critical things that you must plan for, things that you can delegate to others, everything else, which is either uncategorized tasks or your inbox of new tasks. This is sometimes known as the Eisenhower Method. As a software platform, Priority Matrix is fully customizable and allows you to use the quadrants in any way that you want, along with dozens of templates depending on your needs. Priority Matrix was rebuilt from the ground up for deep integration with Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Outlook to help teams conduct more effective meetings and stay aligned on critical projects and goals. You may already experience this yourself, but work from home, remote work, and online collaboration are all trends that are on the rise. What I personally notice is how none of these trends are universally making my life better. I feel that everything competes for my attention, making prioritization more important than ever, yet harder than ever. The exact root cause for everyone is different, but for most, it's due to constant context switching, multiple responsibilities competing for attention, and having to learn new tools. We conducted a series of surveys and learned that 79% of managers and business owners consider integration with Office 365 to be very or extremely important. This is our motivation for building such deep integrations to Microsoft Teams, allowing us to better serve our customers in the way that they want and in the platform they already use. Our users said that Priority Matrix and Office 365 together helps them stay engaged and get more out of both solutions. We also learned that the vast majority of frontline workers say managing priorities and maintaining workload balance is getting more challenging. And almost 2/3 say that learning new collaboration tools is challenging. As a result of all of this, it should be no surprise that Priority Matrix is meant to be an easy-to-use software to help reduce context and application switching and make it easier to prioritize while helping you focus and become more effective. Priority Matrix is a complete project management solution inside Microsoft Teams. This means you can manage projects, set goals, prioritize tasks, delegate, plan, and schedule without leaving teams. Party Matrix uses action cards to send you reminders of tasks. You can create tasks directly from a conversation. You can also add a shared Party Matrix list in each channel, allowing everyone to stay up to date on progress and stay on the same page. Party Matrix has a unique one-on-one view where you can see shared tasks and emails with people you chat with. Suddenly, your meeting and conversations can be more efficient because you can do seamless delegation as you talk to each other. In addition, you can see shared emails and calendar events that you have with that individual all in one view. Party Matrix is also deeply integrated into Outlook. This allows you to convert emails into tasks or check the status of an existing task. You can see previous emails from the sender. You can also see Party Matrix action items that might be contextually relevant to the email's topic. You can imagine PM for Outlook as a smart executive assistant for your emails that tells you, hey, check out these other tasks and emails that might be relevant to this email, saving you time for having to dig through things. Now, each of the components of Party Matrix for Office 365 is built independently. So that means you don't have to use all the features to get value. For example, if you want to conduct better one-on-ones, then you can simply use that tab independently of anything else. It's simple to use and there's almost no learning curve. Our focus is to create a simple but powerful experience for users. One of our customers, Midwest Community Bank, uses Party Matrix to track the priorities across the executive team. Todd Wright, co-CEO, uses Party Matrix to tackle challenges around requiring a good overview of everyone's priorities, track complex tasks, and judging priorities. If these challenges also resonate with you, you're not alone. Party Matrix is currently ranked first in Microsoft Outlook's Editor's Choice. Party Matrix is also one of the very few Microsoft 365 security certified applications, which means our integration has passed a detailed Microsoft security audit. This also means your IT organizations should have an easier time approving Party Matrix for use at your organization. If you weren't able to install Party Matrix before, definitely check in with your IT team again. Today, Party Matrix is used by people at more than 100,000 organizations, and people at more than 13,000 organizations use our integrations with Microsoft Outlook, and people at more than 4,000 organizations use our integrations with Microsoft Teams. Now let's jump into a live demo. There are 4 elements of Party Matrix for Microsoft Teams I would like to show you today: the shared priority list, the one-on-one, the integrations with chat, and the full project management solution. First, let's start with a channel conversation. So you can see here that I'm in a team working on a critical initiative. One challenge we've heard is how to understand the ongoing priorities and status of tasks that's relevant to only this project. With Party Matrix, you can create a shared priority list directly in this channel, which I have open. As you can see here, I can easily prioritize thanks to the 4 quadrants. I can also see who's responsible for what, as well as when items are due. I can add new tasks by double-clicking, add new items, or quickly or double-clicking. So here, let's say I want to generate report progress for May due next week. I can add that. As you can see, our natural language picked up the due dates and set the due date for me automatically. And let's say I need to assign this to Remy. I can click on this and assign to Remy. And now I can go, let's say I want to move this into the critical and urgent quadrant. I can simply drag it over. Everyone would be able to see exactly the status of work in progress, and there's no confusion as to what needs to be done next. I don't need to jump through multiple views or switch apps to see and manage everyone's priorities. One really important takeaway is that prioritization is really a communication problem. When your team is already perfectly aligned, then explicit prioritization isn't so important. However, when there are misalignment in priorities, Party Matrix makes it easy for you to see and immediately catch that. How many times have you felt like something was very important for a critical project, yet it was simply not a priority for the person responsible? Because Party Matrix is so visual, everyone can see everyone else's priorities as well. And so you can have that hard conversation today. This means if Party Matrix can preemptively capture a misaligned priority even once for a very important project, it would save you countless hours and dollars. From here, I can also switch to the calendar view to see what's coming up next. There's also a timeline view. So I can see the upcoming task and so forth relevant to each quadrant. And then also, there's the feed, which gives me a history of all the changes, the audit trail of the items within this particular project. Next, I want to show you the one-on-one. Most of us spend time in conversation with other individuals. One challenge we've seen is that when people have dozens of channels and dozens of projects, they start to lose visibility into what they actually need to do. Obviously, the last thing we want you to do is jump through each channel just to see what's important. With the one-on-one view, you get to see all the shared tasks you have with another person. For example, let's imagine that you're talking to your manager and want to review all the things that you owe them. How would you do it today? What if your manager sent you an email a while ago, but also assigned you a planner task, and also sent you a message in Teams and added a Party Matrix action item? Instead of having to flip through all these apps and search your emails and comb through different views, Party Matrix one-on-one aggregates all that share work into one single place. I simply go to the person's chat, as I did here, open the one-on-one view, and I'm able to see the Party Matrix task. I'm also able to see the planner task, and then emails that my manager or my direct reports have sent me. I can search and filter directly from here as well. You can see that from this view, I can actually add a shared task. So for example, I can say follow up with John due tomorrow. When I create a shared task here, what it does is it actually automatically assigns it to the person that I'm talking to, picks up the due dates automatically using natural language. You can look at on this side in the item detail as sort of a mini chat relevant to just the item. And so it won't pollute your team's conversation. I can jump to the notes section and add subtask, or I can add additional resources like files or links. Suddenly your conversation with your manager is so much easier because you can see all the open action items, add new priorities, or reprioritize what's already there. What's even more powerful about the one-on-one view is how useful it is if you work across teams or organizations. Party Matrix can pull in all the relevant resources and tasks with anyone that you work with. If you have a matrix organization, this will save you countless hours every single week and keep you organized. To add the one-on-one view today, simply go to the tab, search or find Party Matrix, and then choose one-on-one. You can add this for every single person, every single collaborators, every single coworkers that you work with. Let's also see some other Microsoft Teams specific integrations with Party Matrix. Sometimes when you're talking with someone, they may ask you to do something. With Party Matrix, you can immediately convert this conversation into a task, assign it specific projects, set due dates without having to even leave the conversation. For example, Eugenia sent me a message here. I simply click on the ellipsis, go to more action, and choose create item. Now I can choose the projects, the quadrants, set due dates directly from here without even having to leave the team's conversations. Other times, you might be talking about a specific task. With Party Matrix action cards, you can immediately share tasks directly in a conversation. You can find recent tasks, but also search for anything across all your projects. Once you share the task, others can mark it as done. For example, I click on the Party Matrix icon here in the chat, which pulls up my PM item. You see how that action item I created, follow with John, shows up right here. And now I can share it with Eugenia. She's able to mark it as done or open the item and directly edit it and have that mini conversation. You can even pull in emails that were uploaded through Party Matrix for Outlook. So imagine a scenario where you get an email from a third party that has required actions. By using Party Matrix, Teams, and Outlook together, you can triage the email, have a mini conversation about it, set due dates, and maintain a status update instead of having to forward the email and then creating an overwhelming thread of responses. As mentioned so far, you can use Party Matrix different features almost independently and still get a ton of value. If OneonOne is the only thing that's important to you, simply add that tab to each of your relevant coworkers. However, you can rest assured that Party Matrix is also a full-featured project management solution, and it works inside Teams. As you can see, I've pinned Party Matrix to my left panel. You can access the full app by going to here, search for Party Matrix. But what I've done is I've pinned it on the left-hand side here. And so if you're part of the IT organization, you can actually pin it for your entire team. Once you open this view, you can see 4 important tabs at the top. Chat is where you get notifications of changes or updates relevant to you. You can also get reminders of when things are due. The OneonOne tab here is the global OneonOne view, and you can use that to select anybody that you work with and see all your shared resources. The search view is the master list of everything, which allows you to search for Party Matrix tasks, planner tasks, office documents, etc., using our deep graph integrations. This is where you get unprecedented visibility from a people-centric perspective. Finally, the Your Project tabs is the full PM app. You start in the home view, which shows you if you have any unread notifications from other team members. You can also see your agenda for the week, which shows upcoming tasks. When you go to projects, you can see all your projects across PM. Your share priority list across all those channels that you've created would also show up here. I can click on a project and it takes me to the 4 quadrants. There's also the global calendar, which shows you upcoming tasks across all your projects. The global feed shows you what's happening everywhere. And finally, there's the inbox, which is essentially for tasks that don't belong in any specific projects. This can be forwarded emails or tasks created when you use our Chrome extension, or things assigned to you from projects that you don't have access to. So this means that you can assign someone a task in a project they don't have access. This would allow them to see their task in their inbox and would still show up in your OneonOne view together. Next, I want to jump to Party Matrix for Outlook. One of the things that makes Party Matrix so powerful and easy to use is how it plays nicely between emails, tasks, and Microsoft Teams conversations. Everyone receives emails, either from coworkers or external parties. With Party Matrix, these emails can be turned into tasks quickly so that you can prioritize them, assign them to other people, or categorize them in different projects. However, what makes Party Matrix unique is how you can see other relevant tasks or emails from the same sender. So for example, here I have an email selected from Eugenia. And you can see here under shared resources, it shows me other emails that she sent me. I can also jump and do similar items to see potentially relevant tasks that are open and relevant to this particular email that's been sent. The reason this is so useful is that sometimes you forget what task you might have to do for someone. By having this information available at your fingertips, you can easily see the status of things, but also review the history of what you have done. So imagine if you're in IT and you get an email from a user asking about the status of a project. You can see the previous emails the user has sent you. You can attach this email to a PM task that you already created. And then you can also see the PM items that may be relevant to this particular context. And all of this done inside Outlook without having to switch apps. If you get a lot of emails, this can save you hours every single week. So let's say I convert this into a task. I simply create action item. I can choose what project it goes in. I can choose what quadrant. I can change the item name. I can add additional notes and due dates. What's nice is that when I go back to this item later, this email later, this link shows up to show me that I have a view. I can view the linked task. Instead of me having to go and see whether or not I've already created a task from this email, our system automatically detects it. And even if I didn't convert the email into a task, PM for Outlook provides passive value by giving you the context of every single email that you receive. But now that I created this email, if I jump back to Microsoft Teams and I go to a chat or a Teams conversations, I can pull up that email directly from here. And you can see how the email is uploaded. Now my team members can review that email. We can have our conversation directly here, and we didn't have to go and create a whole separate thread. Not only that, we can mark it as done. We can respond to the end users directly. In conclusion, Party Matrix for Microsoft Teams and Outlook was rebuilt from the ground up in order to create a simple but effective experience for managing projects, tasks, and emails. You don't have to learn a new tool. You can just add PMs to Teams and Outlook, and it works inside the platform you already use. In addition, simple features like converting emails into tasks or the one-on-one are all meant to help you get value out of Party Matrix and Microsoft Teams with the least amount of work. This means everyone can get value quickly. You can even eliminate a number of external tools that you might be using today. Party Matrix for Outlook and Teams can be universally useful for every single person in your organizations, from executives to managers to salespeople. Everyone gets assignments, right, from tasks and so forth, and everyone gets emails, whether they want it or not. Party Matrix can unify Teams and Outlook together in a whole new way. So whether your projects are simple or complex, Party Matrix provides you, your team, and your organization a unique and valuable solution to help you focus on the work that matters most. You can get Party Matrix for Microsoft Teams and Outlook today and see for yourself how easy it is to get started. Now let's jump to the Q&A.
Perfect. Hi, that was a great presentation there. So some of the most common questions we have, one just came up that I wanted to make sure we touch on is, what is the data security and privacy of Priority Matrix? It kind of centralizing around while it's, does it read our emails and chats? And so yeah, just kind of review what the data policy looks like there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we can definitely share with any of the users or teams that have concerns around that. And also in terms of what Party Matrix actually access, the emails are all pulled, that information is all pulled live from Graph, and none of that is actually stored in our system. So unless you explicitly sent an email and convert that into a task, that is not stored in our system. And also in terms of the security side, as mentioned, we just recently achieved Microsoft 365 security certification. So that's also one of the things that we can give the end users a lot of a sense of security around what it is that we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. And then another question we had was, what kind of training do we offer?
So we provide all sorts of training, obviously, depending on the type of licenses the end user is looking for, but we provide everything from webinar training to training with specific teams or recordings that we can provide to the organization. And we also, of course, have a lot of basic videos and so forth that gives everyone an introduction. As you can see, Party Matrix can be useful in so many different ways, as in, maybe some organizations are very focused on doing better one-on-ones, but some might be using it just to focus on specific projects. And so we want to make sure that we provide whatever is actually relevant to the end user based on the way that they want to use Party Matrix inside Microsoft Teams or Outlook or with anything else.
Okay, perfect. And then another question we had was, are the files stored in Priority Matrix integrated with our current SharePoint network, or is it a separate storage site?
So there's multiple ways. So what you can do is, obviously, as you can see earlier, when I was pulling up some of the files and so forth, those were actually in OneDrive. However, at the same time, you can actually upload your files into our system as well. So as an end user, you do have that flexibility in terms of where you want to store the files, and maybe some things you want to leave on Drive, other things you want to leave on Party Matrix for various reasons.
Perfect, perfect. And then we just had another question come up, and I've seen a couple people ask this regarding the cost. If you could just kind of briefly touch on what the pricing breakdown looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So the good news is there's actually a free tier for Party Matrix for Microsoft Teams and Outlook. So what that means is you can get started today without having to pay for anything. However, we also have upgrade options that expands everything from history of the changes that you have, all the way to increased amount of storage, a number of projects you can manage. And that there we have various tiers there, from everything pro, business to enterprise, where you have site licenses where there's pretty much unlimited everything. And so it really depends on the needs of the end user and what it is, what features and capabilities they want to use. But as mentioned, it's meant to be very, very straightforward to get started. So what that means is, again, if you just want to get started today, you have a free tier. You can actually use that free tier for as much as you want. And then from there, decide what's actually the best thing for your organization. So everything from mandated SSO or audit trails or data controls or data retention, those are all things that you can add as part of the paid licenses. And typically, they, on the non-enterprise, it's per user per month. And then on the enterprise, it's some sort of fixed price or negotiated contract.
Perfect. And then another common question we had was surrounding Microsoft Planner. A couple users were wondering if you could just kind of review how specifically this integrates with Planner, and if it could potentially eliminate the usage or just kind of accelerate using Microsoft Planner.
That's a great question. So I guess the answer is all of the above in some way. So what happens is, the way that we integrate with Planner is actually we surface that up from a visibility standpoint. So as mentioned, let's just say when you do have that one-on-one and your manager sends you a task in Planner, but also sends you an email, right now with Priority Matrix, it allows you to see all of those data sources in one single place. And then you can take that Planner task and convert it into your Priority Matrix task if you wanted to. Or you can just let things be. And so people can use all the whatever platforms that they want, and then you can still have that in one single place. So the first scenario is, let's just say, across your team, some people want to use Planner, some people want to use Priority Matrix, some want to send emails, and everyone is like that. But the way the one-on-one is designed to work is, it doesn't matter what platforms people use. We aggregate all that together to provide you value. So that's one of the needs that we want to address, which is sort of a way to unify all these disparate data sources. So in terms of where we're going with Planner, it really depends on, again, how you want to use it. Now, Planner obviously has a different visualization in terms of how you want to plan tasks and so forth. So if that suits you better, you can continue to use that. But over time, if you think that, sort of the quadrants or the one-on-one is a little bit easier to use, then you can migrate over. But of course, it's a balance.
Perfect. And then we'll just ask one more question, unless I see some more common ones popping up. But we had a question about how Priority Matrix can help you manage multiple projects that have competing priorities.
Absolutely. That's a great question. I guess that was the topic of this whole thing, right? As you can see, when I was showing the different views, when I've had multiple conversations with some customers who have thousands of channels in Microsoft Teams. So as you can imagine, that's a little hard to switch between all these different channels just to see the list of things that you have to do and everyone's priorities. So when you go to Priority Matrix and you go to that project list, first you see all of that. But the second is that search view that I showed, which you can also call the master view. What it does is it aggregates all of these projects together into one single view, and then you can apply filters to help you identify what it is that you need to work on. As mentioned, using the quadrants, you can just imagine that things are separated into whether or not they're really important, and then how quickly do you have to get them done, right? And of course, if you have this across several different projects, it's very difficult to stay on track on what it is that you need to work on a daily basis. So everything from the agenda view to the search view are all intended to bring all of these things together into one single place. And then from there, you can triage, you can work on whatever is that's most important. And then not only that, it's also very, very easy to actually reprioritize things, or push the due dates to some other time directly from the project, from the item detail view.
Okay, perfect. And then just one more question I want to make sure we touch on, which a lot of people are asking, is does my IT department need to do anything for me and my team to get started, or how can we kind of dive in and try this out?
That's a great question. So it totally depends. I think there are some IT organizations that have to approve, but for the vast majority of organizations, you can actually just go into the Microsoft Teams App Store and the Outlook App Store and install today. Inside Outlook, you just go and get add-ins, and we should be there at the very, very top. And then in Microsoft Teams, you just go to add the tab, as I showed. So you can add several different places. One, you can go to add a tab in a Teams channel. You can add a tab in the chat with somebody, and then of course you have the app that you add from the bottom left ellipsis. But what the IT team can do is the IT team can go and pin it for everybody, and so that's actually going to be pretty useful, especially if you want to use Party Matrix more. But I believe that in most cases you should be able to pin it yourself. And then if you don't see Party Matrix, then of course definitely reach out to your IT team, and we can answer and address any of the questions that they have in terms of usage. But with Microsoft Teams, I think one of the things that we're able to do is again show that Microsoft 365 security certification. So that should put us on the short list with respect to applications that they can approve.
Okay, perfect. And then I promise this won't be the last question. I just wanted to make sure we kind of touch on the big ones here. And so the last one will be would we be able to use this with external clients? Do you have any options for that kind of working with the like external collaborators, those who are not in our immediate company?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, when you use the full project management app, you can put in any external collaborator that you want. So with Party Matrix, we have several types of concepts. We have team members. These are the people that you work with directly. And of course, you have departments and so forth that you can organize. And then what happens is you can have external collaborator. I don't know if I may have not shown it in the Outlook integration, for example, but when in that Outlook integration, when I get an email from anybody, it doesn't matter that if that is a person that is internal, I can get that email from anybody, and I can see all the emails that they've sent me historically, right? So essentially, if you get everything from marketing emails to a customer, and then over time, as you convert some of those emails into tasks, then Party Matrix will surface up contextually relevant tasks relevant to, again, new emails that you get. But also, you can invite people into a task directly from into Party Matrix directly from Outlook. So what that means is, somebody you work with all the time, a third party sends you an email, you realize, hey, actually this should be a task that we can collaborate with instead of sending 1,000 emails back and forth. You create a PM action item. From there, now you guys have this single place for you to stay organized. As mentioned, the inbox is sort of a place where all of this go as a default. So the last way to look at it is that if you want to do one-on-one with somebody and you add that as a collaborator in your account, you can actually pull them up and then see again share tasks that you have with them. So you can definitely use it to work with third party with the full Party Matrix application.
All right, perfect. Well, we can wrap up the Q&A session. I think that covers some of the big ones. We will continue to answer the questions that you guys sent us. Thank you so much for those wonderful questions. And whoever's next, go ahead and take the floor.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the demo. I want to go to the next slide, please, for the. Yep. Perfect. Okay. So wanted to just wrap things up here. Thanks everyone for joining the webinar. We're going to provide more details after on how you can request a demo, add the Priority Matrix app to Teams, and for new users, we'll provide information on how to download Teams for the first time as well. We really appreciate everyone's time here, and I'll hand it back to AJ to close things off.
All right, thank you so much. We would also like your feedback on today's session. I've posted a link to a short survey in the Q&A panel. We value your feedback and welcome your input on how we did today, and of course, what you would like to see in the future sessions. The survey scores are on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score possible. Thank you for your participation. As a reminder, attendees can access the web conference recording within 3 business days via the same registration link used to attend today's live broadcast. I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenters and thank our audience for logging in and joining us today. This concludes today's event.
Thanks, everyone.